Okay, training can be a lot more flexible than most of us think, provided you check a few boxes and stay consistent over the long run. Things are highly likely to go pretty well. And as I've talked about before, it's the consistency component that is the non-negotiable, but the training variables like volume and intensity and rep range and frequency and proximity to failure and exercise selection and rest intervals, there are countless ways those can be combined to make your training effective. But consistency, that's more binary. You're either consistent or you're not. And since the consistency is absolutely necessary, but the variables are pretty flexible, then it only makes sense to adjust the variables to allow for consistency. And one thing that can be tough for a lot of people is getting their training to fit with their schedule. And one thing that has worked really well for me is spreading my training out across the day. Now, I've got 2 little kids and I try to be the best dad that I can be. And, so I make breakfast and help get them dressed and brush their teeth and help with school and take them to gymnastics and martial arts and all the other stuff that they do. But I've also got to work and, I've got to coach clients and write programs and make content and answer questions and all the other stuff that comes with, being self-employed and managing a training business. And as I've gotten older, I often don't have a big chunk of uninterrupted time to train. And this is one reason why I really like daily training. By spreading my weekly volume out across more sessions, each session is shorter and easier to fit into an unpredictable schedule. So some days I can get it all in a single session for sure, but more and more I find myself having to split up my daily training into 2 sessions and sometimes even more than that. So I might wake up, do some cardio, and when I get back, I might do a few sets of push-ups and pull-ups, and then later in the day, do another set or 2 along with my leg training. So I get the same workout in, I just split it up over 2 smaller sessions. And this can work for conditioning too. So I might do a 10-minute pull-up EMOM and a 10-minute squat EMOM in the morning, and then a 10-minute push-up EMOM in the afternoon. And all I really care about is that by the end of the day, I've done all the sets and reps that I want with the quality and to the proximity to failure that I want. And I know that as long as I'm doing that, I'm good to go, and I don't have to stress about the schedule, because otherwise, if my consistency was dependent on always getting an uninterrupted block of training in, then, that would make things pretty tough. So as a general rule, do what you can when you can. And if you can get everything done in one session, that's awesome. But if you can't and your schedule doesn't allow for that, don't let it prevent you from being consistent. You have a lot of flexibility here, so a few sets here and there can add up and keep you moving forward. So I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.